Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and this is Star Citizen's new social module. I tried taking a look at this a few days ago, but I couldn't get onto the game's server due to it keep disconnecting me. Now I seem to be on for the moment, so we're going to have a quick look at what we've got here. Now this is the room you arrive in when you leave your hangar. There's a door where you spawn in your hangar and you can turn around and that large door now opens. Behind that there's a lift, and that lift brings you up to here after a rather extensive loading screen. What we got through here is the customs area, and that will allow us into the city area, which is owned by ArcCorp. For now there's nothing in this area that we can actually interact with. It will be great when we can finally interact with the NPCs, for example, standing there, but they're all a little bit lifeless at the moment, but they do add life to the game. Now coming through that door is amazing. The attention to detail here really is great, and it's got such a wonderful sense of ambience about it. The reflections also look pretty good, although I'm not sure where that blue thing is actually reflecting from. Oh, I think it just came back in there, didn't it? Some slow loading times on occasion here, but I guess that's to be expected. This is, was it an alpha module, pre-alpha module? I'm not sure what CIG are calling this now. Now this is the exit, another customs area that gets us back into the room that allows us back to descend back down to the hangar. Ah, this looks like a refueling point for the buggy. I'm not sure that the area here is large enough for a buggy, or warrants a buggy at any rate, but the pathways are certainly wide enough for it. Just wondering if we can step up on these crates here. They look like they're stacked like steps. We can, but we can't go any higher. Interesting. Right, the frame rate is a little bit... Oh, nice ship there. Lovely little details here. Reminds me a lot of some of the Star Wars cities or things like that. Now the frame rate is a little bit low here, just as I was about to say. I will very shortly reduce the graphics down a little bit, so bear with me on that please. I'll not make you suffer the low frame rate on it here too long. I just don't want to do it just yet because it's taken me a long time to get connected to this server, and I don't want to change anything that's going to end up getting me disconnected again. There really is a wonderful ambience to this city. Tons and tons of detail. I wonder if we'll ever be able to get to all these areas we can actually see. Lots of gantryways. There's someone running over there, so nice to see the draw distance on characters is quite a way as well. Now I'll tell you what this does remind me of a little bit. Obviously it's far superior in graphics now, but there's a couple of games it actually reminds me of, and one of them is Neocron. I don't know if you ever played that. It was an MMO back in the early 2000s. That door doesn't open. I didn't think it would, but it was worth a look anyway. But Neocron was set in the dystopian future, and the main area was a megacity. And although perhaps dated by today's standards, it was very much this sort of vibe to it. And another game this actually reminds me of a little bit is Anarchy Online. The cities there were actually fantastic too, at least again for the time. That came out again in the early 2000s. What do we got here? A gun shop. Cubby Blast. Gotta love all the attention to details here with all the little posters and signs and video screens and whatnot. Again, we're lagging here a bit on the graphics. Like I say, do bear with me. In a few minutes when I've got a little bit more footage, I'll swap the graphics down and take the risk of getting disconnected. Like the guns here. Now these have got a huge... what's that say? Read manual before use. Love it. No shooting anyone before you've read the manual. Best prices in the verse. Sticking with CIG's and Chris Roberts' sayings there. So these cities will serve a purpose eventually. I'm gathering that we will be able to come in a place like this and buy all the ammunition and guns and weapons we need. Oh, we got a Vandal head there. Actually quite a lot of detail on that, isn't there? Bear in mind the graphics are set to very high at the moment. I think there is probably one more setting above that. Nice, although not so nice for the Vandal, I guess. So not only are the graphics and details nice here, but the room itself really does have the ambience of a gun shop. You hold the balance of power. We can't go out there. shoplifters will be executed to the fullest extent of the law. Okay, no shoplifting here then. No guns on that rack. And what do we got over here? Looks like some grenades. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. Warning, these premises are protected. So, in the far future, there's still a reliance on CCTV to protect against crime. A citizen's evolution. Okay, I think that's everything there is in this particular area. Yep. It's nice to see the fact that nothing here is exceptionally and perfectly clean. Now, I do know there's an augmented reality key. I can't remember what the key is. Let's have a look at the key bindings. What that does is allow us to have a look at players' names and the names of weapons and things like that. Probably I'm missing something here, but I can't find out what the key is. You're probably shouting it at the screen right now, but we don't need it, I guess. Okay, that's the third person key. Just trying a few keys here. F1 doesn't do anything. Home, insert, end, they don't do anything either. Okay, we'll just carry on as it is. Oh, we've got some steps going down to the center statue here, whatever that is. Wonder what. Oh, it's a map. Not detailed enough just yet to tell us what's going on. I wonder if this area is going to be made bigger later on, or this is the size of the cities we're going to get. Medical unit. Okay, well, that works. Very clean in here, which makes sense, and no scratches or scuff marks. Nice touch. Another very lifeless guy, but we've got to remember that at the moment these are just placeholder people, and that in the future they should be animated, they should be talking, and hopefully we should be able to interact with them. What do we got here? So I wonder if we can go in here and buy some medical kits and things like that. Do we even get health in this game? I don't know. I do know that the idea was that a player essentially gets lives, and that after a while, when they've injured too many times, they die, and that you carry on playing the game as an inheritor or a descendant or something like that. I don't know if that's still going to be in the game, but that was one of the plans. Really do like those reflections. In fact, that medical bay may be one of the places we wake up in when we get badly injured. What do we got here? ArcCorp. Well, these are the people that run this particular city, or this part of the city, or maybe this planet. Job well. Is that job well, as in job well done, or the job well, as in a place to get jobs? Probably a place to get jobs, I'd imagine. We can come here and get missions and whatnot. Lovely big windows over there. Again, another very nice clean room, which I guess we could expect from such a large corporation as this, but an empty customer service desk. Useless customer service, perhaps something else we can expect from a large corporation. Now, these city areas are quite large already, and at the moment we can only get 24 players in here, so it will either need to be populated by a lot of NPCs, or they'll need to increase the number of players around here, otherwise it's going to seem rather lifeless, although it certainly doesn't look lifeless out there. There's a Constellation ship with a buggy down to the left and some NPCs walking around on the landing pad. This is really gorgeous. Voyager Direct, that's one of the in-game stores, isn't it? The clouds here and the smoke are a lovely touch. Now, there's going to be quite a few of these locations dotted around the game. At the moment, I think they're looking at 400 star systems within the game, and each of those is going to have between 1 and 2 inhabitable planets. Let's get those graphics turned down a little bit. Yeah, we're set to very high. I'm going to set them to high and then wait for it to rebuild. Done. Right, yeah, as I was saying, there's going to be 400 systems within the game. Each of those is going to have between 1 and 2 habitable planets on them. Now, we don't get seamless landing on those planets. We can't fly from space directly down through the atmosphere and down towards a city like this and land on it, what we'll get instead is a cutscene, or a cutscene that covers a loading screen. But nonetheless, it's kind of beside the point in a way, because of what we're going to be able to do is travel through space from planet to planet, and that is something I really do look forward to. So the graphics, the frame rate here is quite a bit smoother, and the graphics haven't taken too much of a hit, at least I don't think so. Really liking the water there. Nice touch. That's one only bit of life, organic life, as in plants, that we've seen around here. The rest is very heavily industrial. I'd imagine when we do get to other planets, when they've got other cities in here, they will have different styles, although 400 systems, each with inhabitable planets, maybe 2 habitable planets in some cases, that could potentially mean 600, as many as 600 cities. Now, I can't imagine them all looking completely different to each other. That would be a huge amount of work. As it is, putting in 600 cities seems a huge task. Loving the bar. Anyone who played Freelancer will probably recognise this. Wondering if I can get over the other side of the bar here. It's not openable and I can't crawl under it, but I can probably jump over it. There's another player there on the other side of the bar, but not too worried about that. Look at the video screens here. This looks like the footage and trailers that have been released for Star Citizen. Now, Chris Roberts always explained that the context of all those trailers they released were very much in-game, and that explains it, because they're all being used and reused here, so that really does add to the feeling of it as well. So much detail here. All the corporations and businesses that exist within the in-game universe, all here. What have we got there? Some sort of tablet or holographic display, a menu perhaps. Hornet. Kind of curious how many NPCs we'll eventually end up seeing here. I'd like it to be as alive as the Citadel is on Mass Effect games. Those stations felt very, very much alive, with the NPCs walking around and the conversations going on, and the way they used to all interact with each other or make comments as you passed. If they can even get half of that here, I think we'd be in for a treat. I really do. I haven't been that much into the world of MMOs lately, at least in the past 7 or 8 years, but I do remember back in the days of Anarchy Online and Ultima Online and even Neocron to an extent, it was all very much about interacting with other players. Now, not in the sense of how you used to go out and what games you could play with them, not in the sense of what raids you could do with them and missions and things like that. The social side of those games was all about having places to hang out with people. In Ultima Online, you could make your own cities, make your own towns, or you could visit the in-game towns and just hang out with people. In Anarchy Online, you had the cities and you had the bars, much like the one that we were just in. And although perhaps it wasn't functional in terms of what it added to the gameplay, it did add a lot to the game overall. And it's something I've really missed from modern games. They don't seem to go that extra effort to include those sort of places. But in this case, it looks like they certainly have. Now, look at this. I love the light in there. I'm wondering if this is going to have real day and night cycles. Again, it's something I've heard talk of, but just how real would those day and night cycles be if they are included in the game? Will they be accelerated time like we get in a lot of other games, or will they be real-time day-night cycles? Oh, the all-seeing eye. Well, I guess that had to be included somewhere, didn't it? The Eye of the Illuminati, as some people believe. Or, in actual fact, the Eye of Horus. I wonder if we'll see any sort of gameplay in these type of alleys. They're perfect for the shady deals and a little bit of combat perhaps. I don't want too much combat in places like this, but perhaps we may find targets, assassination targets down these sort of places and things like that. It would seem a little bit of a waste if we don't get something down here, that's for sure. Maybe we can do shady dealings down here and trade in packages or something like that we found. These could even be the sort of locations where we pick up bounty hunter missions. It's going to be interesting to see how fast CIG can iterate on, like in the lens flare, to see how fast CIG can iterate on these cities. Now, we've got one. I think the next few releases for Star Citizen are going to expand this particular star system, so we should get other planets and other areas within this system. After that, I don't know, but we should see the game slowly starting to expand out to other areas. Just wondering if it's possible to fall down there. I'm not going to push my luck and actually try. It looks like it might be wide enough to get through. But I tell you, after all this time, it is actually nice to see Star Citizen slowly coming together. We've got the Arena Commander dogfighting module, and although perhaps I shouldn't say it, I intensely dislike the current flight mechanics in the game. Hopefully they're going to be changed and improved at some point, but nonetheless we've got the dogfighting module. We've now got the social module as well as the hangars. Now the hangars should have some extra rooms added to them at some point, and those are going to be the sort of rooms that we can actually decorate, which should be nice to start adding other features. Astro Armada, can we get in there? If so, what is it? We've now got the social module here, or the planetary surface module, and very shortly we should have Star Marine, along with Arena Commander 2, which will expand the star systems greatly, and it won't just be dogfighting anymore. There should be some missions out there. This looks like a showroom of some type. Looks to me like the floor here is made out of marble. Very plush, very nice. Very shiny. Yeah. Now the audio in here is exceptional. I really do like the echo on the voice, the reverb on the voice there. And that music is, I think, the Star Citizen theme, isn't it? Used on the first Star Citizen trailers during the Kickstarter campaign. Also very nice to see that sort of thing included in the game. Reminds me a little bit of the new Battlestar Galactica series. Remember how that particular series used the theme tune from the original Galactica as the national anthem? All of these touches really do make the game feel increasingly alive, and all the focus CIG have spent on all these sort of touches, all the lore, all the corporations, and all these musics and adverts really are starting to add to the sum total of this game. How long it is until we've got a fully functional game, though, with some true gameplay, is anyone's guess. My thinking that's still at least a year off, at least for the persistent universe at any rate. And we're going to be well into 2016 by the looks of it before we even see anything related to Squadron 42, which is the game's campaign, or the story mode. That's going to be released in chapters, in case, for those of you that aren't aware. I'm not sure how many chapters it is. I think off the top of my head it's 4, and they will probably have quite a lot of time spaced out between them. Now while I was up there I saw a lift, and I was trying to see if that lift is functional. No, it's not. It's a bit of a shame. It certainly is these sort of areas that really do show off the CryEngine though. So yeah, I'm not one to complain about the amount of time Star Citizen's taken. When you look at what's going into the game, it is understandable. But, you know, it does bear worth commenting on it. The crowdfunding campaign originally began in November 2014, so we're now nearly 3 years out, and the full beta, I think, was originally proposed for a 2014 release. But, well, I don't think what we've got yet could be classed as a full beta. It's very much an alpha, or very much bitty game. Not even a game, I guess, yet. But I don't think that's something that should be held against it too much. Although I do think there's a bit of fatigue around the game now, because the funding for the game has dropped off recently over the past few months. Dumpers Depot, we reuse and recycle everything. Okay then. Oh, very nice. What have we got in here? A whole warehouse worth of bits, and what looks like a Hornet potentially being disassembled there. I wonder if we're about to buy cheap components in here to use. That would be quite a nice touch, wouldn't it? Something where we could buy perhaps used components that aren't as good as brand new components, but they're significantly cheaper. And perhaps we'll also be able to sell the salvage of some type here. Hello. He looks a little bit lifeless again, doesn't he? You scary man, you. Right, I think that just about covers all the main areas in the game. I might have missed out a few alleyways or two, but I think all of the stores and buildings I've actually gone in. I think you've probably gathered by now that I am actually really impressed with this. Obviously it all hinges on what's going to be added here in terms of content. It's very empty at the moment, but that really wasn't the focus or the purpose of this release. What we've got here is a hugely detailed city that rivals anything from a AAA studio. In fact, it's probably one of the most detailed cities I've seen since GTA 5, although that was very much brought alive by the amount of NPCs there and the things that were going on there. But in terms of online spaces, I can't actually think of another game that has a city that comes even closer to the amount of detail we've got here. So in terms of potential, it really is still way up there of the games I actually want to play in the next few years. But like I said, how long that's actually going to be is anyone's guess. We're just going to have to keep sitting back and waiting to see. Hopefully people's patience hold out a little bit longer. I think in another 6 to 8 months we're going to see all these separate modules starting to blend together more, and we're going to start having the proper foundations of a true game. But for now, that's a peek at the PlanetSide module for Star Citizen. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.